Got like dirt on my face. These are baby bulbs, Amaryllis that I planted. I forgot what type they were. I outlined like an example in my other video I did just recently on naturalizing Amaryllis, what I'm planning on doing for that, and how an example of like 4 days in a row in the low 20s or somewhere in 20 degrees, like some Fahrenheit. And that would be an instance that I would worry. We had like a very, very cold period come in. It was like a cold front. Just a few weeks before that, we had like a heat wave. It was really horrible. This winter ultimately has been very, very, very cold where I'm at. It's been the coldest winter, you know, we've had in a long time. And I don't know if you could see, but this is dead, this baby. I think it was an apple blossom, but it's like completely like mushy and it's just done for. Dunzo. So yeah, these have just been sitting out here. Not that obviously that cold weather killed it. We had weather that was like in the 20s more than like 2 or 3 nights in a row. I think we did. One of those nights might have been upper 20s, maybe early 30s, but it was just too many days in a row. I think it was like 1 to 2 weeks where it was that cold. But if you'll notice over here, I have between my Encore azaleas, I have some Amaryllis for the past year that I've been miscellaneously kind of or extraneously I've been like planting in here. Hold on. So these are like, they're heirloom Amaryllis that are like, I think they're Minerva, but it's just an heirloom that came from Florida, and I got them on Etsy. And almost all of them are. A few of them were forced varieties I got and moved back here. I've forgotten what those are, but I've since kind of felt the bulbs around these. Like you could see there's a bit of red blotch around this one, but it's completely firm. There's even babies, clusters, that are still here, and they're completely firm. Some of the foliage has died back. I don't know, there's a bunch more here, and then over here I have more big ones that are completely firm, completely intact. This cat. And then over here I have some babies that are just completely firm, completely fine. This whole spot with these Encore azaleas, I have to put stucco back here. I'm doing that behind over there, and I'm turning this into a nicer bed that's mulched and edged. But yeah, I haven't done that yet, so sorry if it looks bad. The last example I want to show you, and this is, I had a fungus gnat issue recently, and I had one last year too. So as soon as that happened inside my house, I just went like nuts with getting rid of that. Like took care of that problem real quick, because I just last year I had brought them outside inadvertently, and in like August or September, and it just really screwed me up for the winter. And then in the spring they were out in my garden, and I had to get nematodes, which took care of it, but it was just a nightmare. This pot that I'm holding doesn't have drainage, but these, and by the way, everything I'm about to show you has been out here for 2 to 3 weeks. So it was out here during that really intense cold period. These are Grand du Sol or Grand Soleil paper whites. One of them is still budded up. By the way, I have paper whites that are blooming right now at my mailbox. They're Ziva paper whites. And all of these right here are the things inside that I had to move out here. I had to cut what I could real quick and just move it all out at once. I've used a lot of hydrogen peroxide to try and get rid of all the fungus gnats. They're at a part of my house where it's really disgusting out here. I'm sorry, yeah. It's a part of my house where not a lot of stuff is growing, as you can see. Like this is like a wasteland, literally. And so these are all azaleas. This is a bed I really wanted to. This cat just loves to follow me around out here, man. I really wanted this to be a nice bed, but I don't even know that this side of part of my house, the northwest point of my house, will ever have real work done to it. I only kind of come back here if I'm ever cutting wood. But yeah, anyway, these have been over here, and for 3 weeks they were here during that intense cold period. If you can't see, this is a magical touch. It had 2 other stalks inside the house, and this was like barely coming up when I put it out here, and now you can see it's just still coming up. Looks great. This is a bud, and it will bloom. These, by the way, it's not cold damage. They were actually wilting when I came out here, so it just, if anything, I'm about to get seeds on one, I think. And you can see another bud coming up here. This one is a clown. And yeah, you could just see like all of this green it just stays out here. These right here this wasn't because of cold damage, or it was, I think, initially, but I brought it back indoors. But you can see other ones coming up, and I mean, this happened during that intensely crazy out of nowhere cold period that we had, so it was very unusual. So I don't count on stuff like that happening. But even if it did, I mean, this will stay here. It will, well, no, you can see right here, this will all have to be cut off, and these lost their foliage basically. This doesn't mean that they won't bloom next year. It just means it'll require a bit more work on my part to get them to replenish that energy. However, these hadn't come up yet indoors, but they didn't start coming up till I moved them out here, but they're coming up and looking great. And so even every night in the low 30s and some here in zone 8 on the line of 7 and 8, like, this stuff still keeps its foliage. This was a dancing queen. It's been out here again for 3 weeks. It was out here during that extremely cold period. Now, that cold has made them, you can see just by doing that, it immediately like propped itself back up, me lifting it up. But you can see, like, it's just kept, even though it kind of like they've fallen a bit, it still kept this almost completely like it was indoors. It looks perfect almost. And even if I cut one or two off, I'll get more in the spring, you know, and it'll be great. New leaves will come up. And if you are in zone 7, whether it's 7A or 7B, I would encourage you to you know, you can get Amaryllis locally that aren't that. I have some Red Lion, some Mont Blanc. You can get down at Lowe's or something and try it out. Grow some seeds, move it indoors, outdoors. I have seedlings right now from a Mont Blanc Red Lion cross that died back. Obviously, they were seedlings when I brought them out in the late fall, and even though those baby bulbs were dead, you would think those seedlings would be dead, but they were actually in the garage during that 1 to 2 weeks of really, really cold we got. I have a feeling in the spring, they're outdoors now, they were on my back porch, that they're going to continue to grow, and that those seedlings did not die. My point is that even if you are in zone 7A here in the US, you can have these outdoors. You're definitely running a risk here and there as you go further north and it gets lower, that things could get either damaged by frost and potentially die. You know, I wouldn't suggest even zone 6. You're pushing it there. I doubt much of Amaryllis are going to survive in the winter, even maybe in the fall. I don't know, but then again, when you consider belladonna lilies, which are the true Amaryllis, I mean, those are much hardier, and those are obviously we grow outside and naturalize outdoors, going way further up north. So it's really important to me to kind of let people know my experiences, so that way other people in zone 7 and zone 8 can understand that these beautiful, incredible flowers can be worked in and designed in with your garden, your outdoor landscape. You need to be paying attention though to your climate and the kind of temperatures you get to know how to do things, and sometimes you got to finesse things, work around it. I mean, in my last video I showed how I have them in planters, or I could have put them in Jiffy peat pots, and that way if something got too cold I could have brought them indoors. I could plant them out closer to spring, leave them in the ground, and take them back out in the fall if I wanted to. Store them in a box or bags in the garage or whatever like that, and then plant them out in the spring again, plant them out in the spring, and you could have them blooming that way. Anyway, yeah, so this is just to kind of get this started on, you know, maybe more videos of people growing them outside. I'd love more than anything. There are definitely videos out there of people growing Amaryllis outdoors. Typically they're like how to care for Amaryllis, and it's like about moving them indoors then outdoors and back again. I just don't feel like you see many of people who keep them solely outdoors and how they take care of them. And or if they're only grown outdoors but brought indoors briefly, only to take them back outdoors again. And I'd love to see more videos of people's gardens with Amaryllis in them. I mean, your garden where all your flowers are, how you design it all, how you bring it all together. There are lots of people out there, myself included, who love seeing that stuff. It's beautiful, and it's moving, and it means a lot to me that it's out there. And a flower like this that I love, I'd love to see more people on this line of zone 7-8 to have them outdoors and naturalize them. So anyway, I'm done rambling. Thank you for watching.